Hello, I'm TheZOMBIEJ, and well, I'm a little very exhausted from, replacing the rug, just redoing my whole room. Well, mostly everything is still in the same place. The rug was the only thing that was changed, as well as the curtains. So, well, I'm pretty exhausted. I still have a little gas left in the tank for a couple videos. Starting with this one, which, it's not LEGO related, it's not even Bionicle related. No, actually, we're going to be talking about radio. It's dead. Now, while there are still radio stations out there that, you can listen to in the car or on a, radio, thing. People still do that, but it's just, they're kind of in the minority nowadays. Nowadays, back in the old days, you used to have, ham radios, stuff and whatnot, and there's also, and you listen to the radio while in the car, or, while you're sitting down while drinking a cup of coffee or whatever. You have this little box-like contraption that has an antenna. That's your radio. You listen to talk show hosts on the radio. You listen to music. Whatever. Baseball games. Whatever. Nowadays, it seems like that whole concept is dead, and it's not okay. But there are still some people that are so dead set in their ways that they won't leave radio behind. But nowadays there are things that have replaced radio, like Spotify, because podcasts and whatnot. YouTube is good for this as well. Pandora, if you want music. Even Amazon Prime has stuff like that too. You can just listen to music on your Alexa device. And it's all, the whole concept of the radio has kind of been modernized to this unmemorable thing, And while people have embraced this, it's definitely something that's not going away anytime soon. So we're kind of stuck with things like Pandora and Spotify and all this stuff, Me and my father used to listen to the Bob and Tom show on the radio during, when he was taking me to summer school, I remember one specific memory of, we went to Hardee's, we would eat breakfast while driving in his work van to summer school. So that was pretty cool. We listened to the Bob and Tom show. It's funny as hell. It's not really the same without Bob Kavoyan, but, it's still funny as hell. Rodney Carrington is kind of funny. But this whole modernized version of radio is kind of, it's not that good, to be honest. It feels like we need to take a step back and just, remember radio for what it was, what it used to be. And, embrace the idea of the old style radio. My grandfather, who unfortunately passed away many years ago, rest in peace, Grandpa, he worked with ham radio, if you know what that is. And he had these ham radio devices and whatnot. He had his own station, and so it can still be done nowadays. Well, I'm not sure about the ham radio thing, but radio in general. People are still listening to radio in their cars. They might be using old cars that don't have the whole radio station thing, And that's another thing. Radio stations are just being replaced by podcasts and whatnot. In the Bionicle community, we have podcasts like the TTV podcast. Not really fond of theirs because they can be cringy sometimes, but But there's all kinds of podcasts out there. And there's some interesting ones. I kind of just stick with the Bionicle related ones because I'm not really too familiar with anything else. Like Fire Spitting with BS01. That's a pretty fun podcast. You should listen to it because Swart, cool individual. Biosector 01 is definitely the most accurate Bionicle wiki you will ever find. And I know that might upset some Bionicle wiki fans. Too bad. It's all about personal taste, really. But yeah, podcasts have taken over their airwaves for going on like 15 years at this point. Maybe less than that. I don't know. I don't know when podcasts started, but it definitely has taken over the airwaves. And whether this is a positive thing or a negative thing, I don't know. That's your judgment call to make. Personally, I kind of like the idea of the podcast because you can listen to all kinds of things: sports podcasts, Bionicle podcasts. Medical podcasts. There's so much. There's all kinds of stuff, And when it comes to music, again, there's Spotify. There's YouTube Music as well. There's Pandora. There's all kinds of things, My sister uses Pandora. That's how she discovers songs from artists that she either listens to currently or hasn't heard before and is willing to seek out a song or two of theirs and possibly maybe the album. Well, it really should be, but you can download podcasts apparently. Yeah, you can download separate episodes of podcasts, whether they be like 50 minutes or an hour and a half. Depends on how long the hosts decide to let the episode run for length. So now, radio in its original state, in its original concept, it's pretty much dead at this point. Not a lot of people use it anymore. They're in the minority, if they do. There's definitely some old school folks out there that still listen to radio, but modern era folks will listen to the stuff that's currently out, with Spotify and whatnot. Personally, I don't care about Spotify. Pandora is a good way to seek out artists. YouTube Music, there's all kinds of stuff there. Bands and artists will have their own topic channel, and they've really compressed the artists' separate channels into one, so you get one-stop shopping, with one artist. Like with Akari Kito from Japan, J-pop artist, one of my favorites. She had I think she had a topic channel and a main channel, and those just got combined together to form one channel, I guess, because YouTube has simplified things a little bit. And I feel like radio has been simplified a little too much, and it kind of sucks, to be honest, because I miss listening to the radio with my dad and listening to the radio with my grandmother whenever I would go over to her place. In the car, we'd be listening to some shit on the radio, stuff, while going to places, having lunch, shopping, and, just being out there. And while the concept of radio has had its day in the sun, its 15 seconds of fame, it's definitely recessed quite a bit. And like I said, a lot of things have taken its place. And whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, again, that's your judgment call to make. Personally, I think it's kind of, I'm a little divided on this one. It's good for the casual passerby, I guess you could say. Because they can, listen to a song or listen to a podcast, and if they are interested enough to seek out the rest of that and listen to everything, they can do that. But when it comes to the old school folks who just want to just listen to old school radio, and really brings me to the song Dead City Radio by Rob Zombie. That has a longer title, I know, but bear with me. He once said that everybody on the radio is dead. And while that's not 100% true, there are definitely artists, musical artists, that whose material appeared on the radio, songs and whatnot. There's definitely some deceased artists out there. And respect to those folks, but there was definitely a decline in radio, and it's definitely kind of this it's kind of been left by the wayside nowadays. Nobody listens to the radio anymore unless you're so dead set in your ways that you are just have an old school radio system in your house, or you have your own radio station. Well, that's cool. But really nowadays people have their own podcasts, they have their own different all kinds of things. So there's all kinds of stuff out there. But what it comes down to is this really what we want to be doing? Is embracing this whole modernized, simplified version of radio? I don't know, honestly. And to be honest, it's kind of too late to say anything like that anyway, because it's already been embraced. People have already, said their piece on the radio stuff and whatnot. I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Radio was doomed to be replaced at some point, so... But it was embraced for what it was. Maybe some of y'all out there can post in the comment section below, do you still listen to old school radio? On an old school radio system? Or do you embrace this modern age of podcasting and Pandora and stuff like that? Is radio dead to you, or do you think it's still alive, just in a different form? That's a good question to ask, because while to some of us radio might actually be dead or just on life support, you can make the argument that it's still alive, but just in a different form, in the form of Spotify, in the form of Pandora, in the form of podcasts, in whatever, It's kind of an interesting argument to make, but at the same time, what the hell, I don't think that radio is 100% dead. It's just kind of getting there, and it's not okay. But really, it's really too late to really do anything about it. Everybody's just embracing this whole the modern stuff, and while that's fine for some folks, really other folks will just stay for a while, for the old school stuff, the old radio. Whether you have a radio in your car, it's probably going to be an old car from like the early 2000s, or mid 2000s, whatever. Or if you have like a radio system in your living room or in your kitchen, you're going to be listening to the radio either way. So is it really dead? Maybe you can answer that in the comment section below, because I'm really conflicted about this, In a way it's dead, but in another way it's in a different form, but really, just, I don't know, whatever it is, the radio was definitely something that was embraced, and rightfully so. It was a good thing to, you know, get into artists and get into things. You know, there's news podcasts as well, you know, news stuff related. So you get up to date on the news while you're driving from point A to point B. So, and, you know, it was just something that we really kind of miss, some of us, you know. I definitely miss listening to the Bob and Tom Show. Now, they do have a YouTube channel, but they're definitely not the same as they used to be with Bob Kavoyan, because he retired, unfortunately. And there were other people that were on the Bob and Tom Show that, well, unfortunately, have passed away. And so, rest in peace to those folks, but there's definitely not much of a demand for radio anymore. Nowadays, like I said, there's Spotify, there's Pandora, there's all kinds of stuff. Really, you have to be picky and choosy on which one you actually trust, and also which one would you rather associate yourself with. Pandora is accessible, yes. Spotify as well. YouTube Music. There's all kinds of shit. It's crazy. So, what do you think about radio? Post the comment section below. Is it dead, or is it in another form? What do you think? Let me know. And, I might have one more video for you today, but we'll see. So yeah, but for now, I'm TheZOMBIEJ. I'll see you folks there. Have a good fucking day, and peace.